Plus the New York assassin guy getting named and arrested and all of that. Obviously, that is a huge story. I've seen a lot of the alt-right and MAGA Taliban types, is what I call them, because they're like conservative ultras, aren't they? It's hurling abuse about this New York CEO thing. Hurling abuse at the radical left for taking pleasure. They think we're taking pleasure in the murder of a loving husband and father. That is the way that they are interpreting what is happening here. It's the radical left, guys, taking pleasure, laughing at the murder of a loving husband and devoted father. That is what I see. That is what is going on. The left are so uncivilized. Look at them laughing at this. And it's like first off, nobody's laughing at the murder of a husband and father. Nobody's laughing at that. I've done comedy for 6 years. It's difficult to find funny in the murder of a husband and father. Trust me on that. I've seen worse open mic routines, but not many. So what are we doing? We're just refusing to mourn the death of somebody that we don't know, and the very little that we do know about them is that they got stinking rich while denying other loving fathers and devoted husbands their health care. That's what there's a difference there. There's a difference between those two things, isn't there? I don't know if I would necessarily expect the flag fuckers, the symbolism over substance crew to be able to absorb such nuance, but it is there if you should seek such complexity. So nobody's celebrating. If you're going to make the case that the left are uncivil, the radical left they're really showing their true colors. They're letting the mask slip today. If you're going to make that case, you might want to cast a glance closer to home, guys. Like when your boy Don Jr. did actually outwardly mock and laugh at a husband and father when Nancy Pelosi's husband got hit round the head by an intruder with a fucking cricket bat. He literally mocked that. I mean, this is what gets me about the culture war right-wingers. The subset of the right that subscribe to all of the culture war stuff. Like, not all of the right is like that. You got to, hold your hands up with that stuff. Not every person who sits on the political right is as batshit as the people that I'm alluding to here. There are some, not many, but there are some measured, reasonable, small C conservatives out there. There's not many, but they are there. There's a few of them. David Attenborough, I think, is, creeping through bushes with a little telescope. He could just about say, he's run away. Be another 5 years before we see him again. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about, the Liz Trusses, the Donald Trump fans, the Don Juniors, the GB News lot, the people who come out with stuff like when they go, the uncivilized left, the radical left. Like, who was it? Which raging lefty was it that stabbed Joe Cox to death? Was that a raging, uncivilized, typical radical left type, was it? Or what was the arrest ratio of the peace in Gaza marches compared to the Suelian riots that kicked off around the cenotaph? What was the difference between those two? Does anybody remember? Anyone care to take a wild guess as to, which one of those constituted the actual hate march? The peace in Gaza, please stop bombing women and children, those marches, or the Farage riots? Which one of those actually turned out to be hate marches of the uncivilized? Or when it's the same thing, right? The culture war, right? Taking something that they themselves are guilty of and trying to wrap it around the left. When they come out with stuff like, Labour are hiking your taxes because they're socialists. That's why they're doing it, Aid. They're hiking your taxes because of ideological, indoctrinated reasons, because they're bloody socialists, Aid. And it's like, again, Does anybody not remember? Like, are all of your memories erased like fucking Men in Black? Nobody recalls the Tories, the small C Conservatives, raising the tax burden to the highest in 75 years. Nobody remembers that, really. Or over, stateside again. Like, it's the crooked Biden crime family. That was the whole thing, wasn't it? It's like, really? It's like, your family have just been literally fined $400 million for fraud. You've been found liable for rape, but it's the Biden crime family. Okay. Like, the projection is wild. The short-term memory loss is just, I don't like, you get Americans going, like, saying stuff like, not so much now, but like, just in the run up to when they all went to the polling booths, there was people going like, well, I didn't like the way that Kamala Harris she was scared to answer questions. She wouldn't go on the Joe Rogan podcast, man. Donald Trump went on the Joe Rogan podcast. I didn't like the way she was hiding from scrutiny. She refused to answer the questions. I'm like, your boy refused to answer questions at a congressional fucking hearing. Like, how is it? She refused to answer questions. Really? That must be really, really frustrating. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Credit where it's due. Donnie did go on Joe Rogan. So, he didn't answer the question about where he was or what he felt as the coup was kicking off, in which 6 people fucking died. We still don't know any of the information around that, but we do know what his thoughts are on Roswell. So, lucky old us.
Just another video with Thompson screaming, I just don't because no radio wants it, no TV stations calling for